It doesn't start with burnout. It starts with a belief, quiet and ancient, that your pain is less important than theirs, that your wounds can wait, that caring for yourself is something you'll do later, once everyone else is okay. This is the healer's paradox, and it begins the moment you learn that your suffering makes others uncomfortable. Maybe you were the child who learned not to cry too loud, the one who swallowed their fear because someone else in the house was already falling apart. You became the steady one, the strong one, the one who could hold it together when no one else could. By the time you were a teenager, you'd perfected the art of invisible suffering. You smiled through your own heartbreak to comfort a friend through theirs. You stayed calm during your own crisis because someone needed you to be their anchor. And somewhere along the way, you stopped believing your pain deserved attention. Now, as an adult, you're the therapist friend, the emotional support, the one people call at 2 a.m. You can read someone's pain from across the room. You know exactly what to say to make them feel seen. You hold space for their grief, their rage, their uncertainty, with a tenderness you've never once turned inward. But when it's your turn to fall apart, you do it quietly, efficiently, alone. Because asking for help feels like burdening someone, and you've spent your whole life believing you're supposed to be the solution, not the problem. Psychologists call this self-neglect masquerading as compassion, but it's deeper than that. Because ignoring your own needs isn't laziness. It's not even martyrdom. It's a survival strategy that became your identity. Here's what really happens. When you grow up in an environment where emotional resources are scarce, where attention, validation, or safety feel limited, children learn to ration their needs. And often the most perceptive child makes a devastating calculation. If I stay small, there will be more for everyone else. If I don't take up space, maybe things won't fall apart. This is called self-silencing for relational harmony. You learn that your emotional needs created friction, so you erased them, not because you didn't have them, but because expressing them felt dangerous. And here's the cruel trick. It worked. When you stopped asking for things, people praised you. You're so strong, you're so independent, you never complain. Those words felt like love, so you kept performing the role. But neuroscience reveals something haunting. People who chronically ignore their own emotional needs show patterns similar to emotional dissociation. Their brain learns to suppress internal distress signals, the tightness in the chest, the exhaustion, the anger, because those signals were never met with care. Over time, you stop feeling your own pain clearly. It becomes background noise, static you've learned to tune out. You develop an extraordinary capacity to attune to others, reading micro-expressions, sensing mood shifts, predicting emotional needs. But when it comes to your own inner world, it's muted, delayed. You don't realize you're drowning until you're already underwater. Because if you acknowledged your pain, you'd have to stop. And stopping feels like abandoning everyone who depends on you. So you keep going, keep healing, keep holding, while quietly eroding from the inside. But here's what no one warns you about. You can't outrun your own pain by healing others, because every time you tend to someone else's wound while ignoring your own, you're teaching yourself a devastating lesson. My pain doesn't matter as much as theirs. And your body hears that message, your nervous system hears it, and eventually it responds. Maybe it shows up as exhaustion that sleep doesn't fix, or a tightness in your chest that appears out of nowhere, or a creeping resentment toward the people you love, not because they ask too much, but because you've given too much of yourself away and there's nothing left. You start to feel hollow, like you're performing care instead of feeling it. You say the right words, make the right gestures, but inside you're numb, disconnected, running on autopilot. And the worst part? No one notices, because you've been so good at hiding your struggles that people genuinely believe you don't have any. They see your strength and miss your suffering. They lean on you without realizing you have nothing left to stand on. So you keep pretending, keep smiling, keep showing up, because admitting you're not okay would shatter the image everyone has of you. The capable one, the unshakable one, the healer. But here's the question you've been avoiding. Who takes care of the person who takes care of everyone? And why do you believe you don't deserve the same tenderness you give so freely to others? Here's the truth no one teaches healers. You are not exempt from your own humanity. Your pain is not less real because you understand it. Your needs are not less valid because you can manage without them being met. Your exhaustion is not less serious because you hide it well. You are allowed to be both, the person who holds space for others and the person who needs space held for them. So what does it actually look like to heal yourself with the same care you give others? It starts with something radical, treating your own pain as if it belongs to someone you love. Imagine a friend came to you feeling exactly how you feel right now, exhausted, overwhelmed, silently suffering. What would you say to them? How would you respond? You'd probably offer compassion, understanding, permission to rest. Now ask yourself, why can't you offer that to yourself? Here's a practice, the self-compassion redirect. When you notice yourself dismissing your own feelings, it's not that bad. Other people have it worse. I should be able to handle this. Pause. And ask, would I say this to someone I care about? If the answer is no, then it's not wisdom. It's cruelty dressed as strength. You can still be a healer, you can still show up for others, but you stop doing it at the cost of your own existence. Set boundaries without guilt. Say, I need time, without justifying it. Let someone else hold the weight occasionally, not because they're better at it, but because you're allowed to put it down. And here's what happens when you do. You start to notice feelings you've been postponing for years. Grief, anger, loneliness. Not because things got worse, but because you finally have the space to feel them. And yes, it's uncomfortable. Yes, it's messy. But it's also honest, and slowly you begin to understand. Healing others was never your burden to carry alone. It was a way to avoid the most terrifying task of all, turning that same tenderness inward and believing you deserve it. You spent so many years believing that care was something you gave, not something you received. That your purpose was to heal, not to be healed. That strength meant never needing anyone. But here's the quiet truth. You were never meant to be invincible. You were meant to be human, breakable, tired, worthy of rest. The people who truly love you don't need you to be strong all the time. They need you to be honest, to let them see you, to trust them with the parts of yourself you've kept hidden. So the next time you feel your own pain rising and your instinct is to push it down, to distract yourself by helping someone else, pause. Take a breath and ask yourself, what would I need if I were my own best friend? You don't have to heal everyone. You don't have to carry every burden. You don't have to prove your worth through endless service. You are allowed to rest. You are allowed to hurt. You are allowed to be cared for, just as deeply as you care for others. You were never meant to heal the world while quietly breaking yourself. You were meant to be whole, imperfect, tender, and finally kind to yourself. Start there. That's where real healing begins.